Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I was talking about it, how Hush was an insanely strong player back in the day. Again, he was the PvP sniper. He was known for being sent out in Pro League against people like Zest, against people like Stats. Like, that is who CJ relied on for that matchup. They didn't want to use Hero too much, right?
I was gonna say, yeah. Even though Hero was probably the more favorite player and also had a very high chance of taking out some of those big names like a Classic or a Zest, you also want to, save him for some of the really heavy hitters.
Well, that was the beauty of Pro League, because you did have certain players who just excelled at a specific matchup, and that's what Hush was. In a PvP, you would favor him over Hero in some of those matchups, as they were best of ones back then. But mate, we're getting into it.
Unless it was an all-kill. No, wait, yeah, even if it was an all-kill format, consider it was still best of one. It's just we are coming down here, concluding this quarterfinal series here on Jagannatha KBBLE. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map. Recently picked up by Team NV. He is coming down from the land of South Korea, representing that Team NV. The blue Zerg player, hashtag one true dong. He is DongRaeGu.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha LE. This man, he used to be on CJ Entus back in the day, one of the ex-Kesper boys, but he is back, now representing Team GP, rebranding. He is no longer Hush. He no longer wants your silence. He is ViViD.
Saw some people saying, with all these names, we form OGS?
I think we need a couple more of the old school players, but I mean, why not at this point?
And really old school, honestly.
We
just need MC. He won the Legends show match, didn't he?
He did.
Bring
he
him
did.
Back.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, I didn't quite get to see what the openers were, but it does look like a pull for us as the gases were delayed for DRG. He's just sending links across the map. We'll see how good the defense is going to be. So ViViD did scout this with a probe. He did chrono out his initial zealots.
And this is such a solid wall right now for ViViD. He's being a little bit ambitious. He wants to come out and face these Zerglings head on with his zealot, but every time he does, he's leaving that opening exposed. DRG not quite pouncing on top of it though. Yeah, he does respect ViViD just that much more. He knows that he'll be able to plug that in with his probe. There we go.
Oh, there we go, as it looks like the Zealots are going to be surrounded. They will all eventually go down, but he did trade incredibly well against the Lings, and there aren't that many of them as DRG is forced back.
Yeah, especially with that Adept on the way. Almost gets the Cybercore, but almost ain't quite gonna cut it. Now I have to wonder, how does DRG go from here? Because I feel like he wanted to do a lot more than just kill two Zealots.
I was about to say the exact same thing. This is not the best opening for DRG again, especially because this delays his... He still doesn't have his gases. For example, like, whether he wants to go into Link Speed, whether he wants to go into, like, Banelings or Roaches, whatever, like, it's just so incredibly delayed. And as you said, all he did was force out Zealots, which is great and all, I guess, but not ideal.
Yeah, honestly, the two Zealots, it's 200 minerals, which seems pretty costly, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't delay too much here for ViViD. He's still going into his Stargate at about the right timing.
Yeah, the real question is, like, how aggressive is ViViD going to be? Because he is sending out his initial adepts, which I love. He does need to scout this. The fact that we have a third base going up. More importantly, if he gets into the bases, he'll be able to get a good idea of the lair timings, that there is none, and also the gas timings.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep his eyes right on top of these shades.
Oh, that he does, as he doesn't commit to a shade quite yet. The other thing that DRG could go for, he isn't going for it, but what he could do, especially because his gases are so late, if he wanted to, just make a bunch of queens, right? And just march across the map.
Honestly, I kind of dig it.
Yeah, why not?
It's Jagannatha, after all, you have those speed zones, so yeah, the queens have a little bit of a boost. And it's the ideal anti-air. ViViD is focusing a bit more on Void Rays at the moment.
Yeah, and not even that many. Like, he still only has one Stargate. Like, it feels like the gases, at least at the natural, have been delayed a little bit longer as well. So DRG doesn't really have too much to worry about. At the same time, though, DRG is relying on nothing but queens to defend, so he can still lose quite a number of workers to these adepts.
As they come on in.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Good target firing coming out from ViViD.
Yeah, and he even cancels the shade. He stays here in the natural. He forces a zero mining to be happening here in the natural base. Ay, ay, ay.
Papi.
Oh, no.
Mr. Shade once more, and he gets 5 drone kills. De Mayo.
There you go, Cinco de Mayo, as finally the adepts do get cleaned up, but again, they paid for themselves. They didn't just kill 5 workers, but if you recall, there was a lot of lost mining here in the natural, especially where there was just 0 drones on the mineral line.
Yeah, for a little while there, DRG was kind of pacing back and forth with his drones, not really mining from either base. The threat has been dealt with, so he is getting back on top of business as usual. But speaking of business as usual, ViViD is not doing what is usual for most Protoss players. That's triple Stargate coming down. How many Oracle Sight?
I love this because he is being very greedy right now. He's skipping, as you said, Twilight Council, right? There's no charge lots, there's no +1 on Forge, there's no commitment to a gateway army, and because he feels like, because what he's seen is nothing. Like, there's no tech, the lair is late, so there was no lair at the time, there's no Roach Warren, so he feels free enough to be this greedy, to be this crazy, and go triple Stargate Void Ray.
And this is the time where I really wish DRG went Mass Queen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he was, yeah, if he went for like a queen, like Roach all in, like that, like it would have done well.
It's
to
a
be
good
honest.
tactic. Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
But no, for now we are seeing DRG trying to get into a bit of a more normal mid-game, if a bit delayed. And I'm not sure if he will immediately go for the Hydra Den. I mean, I don't think he's had much scouting aside from his initial Overlords.
Yeah, he has not. We do see DRG is going for the Hydrogen, thankfully, right? Thankfully. Like, yes, like he will have anti-air, and honestly, Mass Hydras can do well against Mass Void Rays, especially with Queens to support.
And
so,
ideal,
yeah. Like, so DRG, he is very much so still in this. Luckily, again, like his links have been able to catch some Void Rays, so maybe he can gleam it. Like, he confirms, like he sees the Mass Void Rays. He's like, okay, I know what you're going for. But there is still an opportunity for ViViD to deal some damage before the Hydras come into play.
Which is quite a large amount of time here for ViViD to utilize. DRG, he's still working on his upgrades. He doesn't have +1 range yet. He does want the lair. He's gonna go straight for it. The Queens are in that third base location.
No.
Like,
yeah, all right, here we go. So he's going to focus on the Spore first. Ooh, the Hydras pop out just in time. The Spore immediately evaporates. Oh my god, he wants that lair. He's actually a little bit indecisive, focusing on the Queen and then the Hydras.
And DRG has bought himself more than enough time here. The transfuses gonna act as even more of a deterrent. And ViViD not getting a single bit of damage there. Killed a Hydralisk, killed a Spore Crawler.
Yeah.
But what does that really achieve at the end of the day?
Yeah, exactly. Really nice defense there by DRG as, ooh, one Void Ray does get sniped. These have not dealt the damage that ViViD was looking for. Meanwhile, he's still pumping out more Void Rays, and the defensive position here at the third is immaculate. Like, it's going to be very difficult as a Zerg player to break this with all this stacked defense, and ViViD is looking to go straight into Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, Flux Veins, just so he can dip in and out even more effectively with his Void Rays. That third base defense is immaculate. How about the natural base, like, because
not so
I feel
much.
like that's where DRG is going to be hitting a lot harder at.
Yeah. I do like that ViViD isn't neglecting his defenses. He is throwing, oh, actually, yeah, he knows. He's like, he looked at his own natural. He's like, it's not that great, so let's throw down some more cannons. Let's throw down some more shield batteries. So honestly, like, defensively, ViViD is looking quite strong at his third and his natural. So it's going to be on DRG. Like, what is his plan here? Does he take more bases? Does he expand? Does he go up to Hive? Does he get Vipers?
Yes to all.
I would hope so. It's currently not what he's doing. He's still missing that infestation pit.
What if, hear me out, Light, 2 base. No, it's more than 2 bases. Never mind.
Oh my god, I was really curious. Like, he made the fleet beacon, but he wasn't making any carriers, mate. He's going straight for the mama ship.
Minus 400, 400. Let's go.
Oh boy, oh boy. And now there are so many more void rays. Yo, there's still no creep here. This time the Hydra's are out of position. He could actually. Oh no, there's a lot of queens.
There's a lot of queens, and they have plenty of transfuse energy. Remember, queens do not have any armor tag on them, so yeah, void rays actually take a while to chip away at the queens.
That they do. The void rays, once again, they find no damage whatsoever. DRG, he has his army in position, even throws down 2 more spores because he knows how vulnerable that main base can be, and he is maxed out. He's looking to try and bust the defensive Protoss.
Might as well. Oh, pretty good pick off here for DRG, and ViViD knew that, so he pulls away just at the right time.
Exactly.
Does not want to lose that many void rays.
Yeah, and you could be thinking to yourself, hey, like, as a Protoss, wouldn't like Storm or get any kind of AoE be good here? It would, but ViViD has been greedy. He teched all the way up to that Stargate, tech to that fleet beacon, and now the bases are crashing in.
And they're getting a lot of damage. It takes out a decent number of production over here. The mothership comes in just at the last second to cloak these void rays. There's no detection out here for DRG.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I'm pretty surprised that
No!
ViViD is committing to the void rays.
ViViD, he left his mothership like a little bit too far behind, a little bit over eager there. He does lose a couple of void rays a little bit needlessly, but he was able to defend beautifully. But the detection is here.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go Flux Veins, isn't it? Those void rays just go way too fast. Look at all that anti-air light. A lot of Hydras have gone down while these void rays were cloaked, but there was transfuse ready to heal up the rest of them, and plenty more Hydras coming where that came from. Minus 200, minus 200.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm okay with
400.
I was about to say, this is okay for ViViD as long as he was taking up behind this and throwing down the Templar archives. Like, there's still no Storm, there's still no High Templar. He's committing to carriers.
Void Ray. He's not even committing to carriers. He's making Void Rays against Ling Bane Hydra Light. Oh boy. Literally the worst thing you can do. I feel like he thinks he's playing a mono battle.
Oh boy, indeed. Meanwhile, we're in a little bit of a base trade. The Void Rays are going to be able to take out a lot of bases, and of course, recall is always available.
Definitely is, but recalling Void Rays Light on top of Hydras.
I mean, there's not that many Hydras here. Like, a lot of the Hydras are actually at home to defend.
They are, yeah.
But not enough, mate. The Void Rays can fight this.
Oof. They really can. A bit of an inefficient split here for DRG, and ViViD is looking to exploit that as
man,
much
look at
as
that step.
Queens
look
come
at it.
Back. Oh, it's great.
Mate,
can you really call it a stutter if you're in the air?
Man, he's gliding along the map, mate. He's lubed up.
It's like a figure skater.
Oh god, he's stuck there. He's trapped.
He is. Oh, he can't even recall, because if he does, then they're sitting ducks.
That they are. Meanwhile, the natural has gone down. The third base is still standing strong, but for how much longer? Yo, the Banelings, they want to crash into that mineral line.
Yeah, these Sergeants just clearing a path for him, and here comes the Banelings. There's no more room to kite. The Void Rays come in, and they're able to deal with the rest of the Banelings, but not before 8 probes go down. Not the worst damage in the world for ViViD, but not ideal either. DRG has been able to max? Actually, not quite.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the fresh bases went down for DRG, right? Like, he's struggling a little bit. He is expanding over here on the left-hand side. What's important is that DRG hasn't neglected his tech. He hasn't tunnel visioned and only made Hydras. He did finally throw down that infestation bit, and he is looking to go into infestors for those fungals.
Imagine only making 1 unit, like
looking at you, ViViD.
That, yeah.
I mean, he's making 2. He's making a mothership. I mean, it's
a mothership. He's getting an observer out, you know.
There you go. There you go.
He doesn't have an attack, but it's counted as a unit.
Oh boy, oh boy. Meanwhile, I mean, he's shaving off a couple of Hydras here and there, a bit of pathing issues, but the problem is that ViViD can't really afford to go across the map, because if he does, he just leaves his bases like completely vulnerable to a counterattack. Oh my god, and he has to be careful not to be caught out. Oh god.
Which he is a little bit kind of unfortunate. He keeps making observers that die.
Oh god, shaking my head. Meanwhile, the mothership, it looks like it will eventually pop out, and the problem is that DRG has had enough time to secure all these bases to drone up to max out once again, and ViViD is still struggling a little bit.
He really is, and I was gonna say I can't blame him, but I really can. How many points has he made this game? And how many has he lost? He's on 26 right now. He's lost 11 light, and he's continuing to make more of them.
Mate, just throw down the Templar Archives and make a single goddamn High Templar. That's all you need. Like 2 storms and you're golden.
You don't even need to do that. You don't even need to throw down any more tech. Just make carriers.
Please. You're not wrong. That would be better here. Like mass carrier against Hydra. You don't want to be the Hydra army.
Yeah, I mean, I guess eventually you do want storms regardless, but I mean, just make something else out of your Stargates here.
To be fair, mate, ViViD, he is doing what he can, and he was able to split up his main army. Meanwhile, DRG kind of tunnel vision a little bit too much here. Like the main force is like trying to dance with the Void Rays. The Void Rays are coming in. They can take out all these queens.
That they can. Transfuse not really being thrown down, but even with Transfuse, it is not too ideal. DRG again had forced to split up his army, not in the best ways either. The lair will go down.
That's disastrous. Because that wasn't just a lair, that was a potential hive. Like, he still doesn't have a hive. Like, imagine if DRG had some Vipers, you know, Power Bombs, Yoinks, whatever he needs. To be fair, like, he still has a lot of potential with this. Like, he wants a fungal. He's hunting for it.
He really is. One good fungal, and that's it for this army. You get rid of all of the mobility of these Void Rays, and that's really their main strength at the moment. I mean, yeah, they do a really good job of picking out bases, and they're really good against armored units, but right now, that is not the advantage that ViViD needs. That's a pretty good fungal to start things off with, and that's an even better one here, Light. Now, the Void Rays are within proximity of a couple of these shield batteries, and not too many Hydras over here. The DPS isn't very high for DRG.
Mate, do you know what just happened? DRG wasted all his fungals. He has no more energy. The Void Rays are coming back in. All the Hydras are going down. Mate, Void Rays are all you need.
Void Rays and shield batteries, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
DRG would have been able to break that if not for the shield batteries.
I was about to say, we were talking about that defensive position earlier. Like, that was ideal for ViViD. DRG, he needed to fight that in the middle of the map.
Absolutely immaculate, if you will. More Hydras start to come down, and I don't even know what I'm watching, Light.
Hey, you're watching an old school Protoss player come in, just spam that Void Ray key, and take down DRG.
He's like, man, Void Rays are even better than they were back in Wings of Liberty.
I didn't even know if he played SC2 in Wings of Liberty. I think he may have still been playing Brood War.
I think he was still playing.
Yeah.
No, he switched to. He was an early adopter, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go. As the lair goes down once again, there are no more infestors, no more Hydras. Mate, hush, ViViD has done it.
I'm shook.
That was disgusting.
GG has been thrown down. ViViD, making me question all of my conventional wisdom. And honestly, I always love when a player does that. Is able to do that when I'm like, I'd have to reevaluate.
Just wow. Like,
wow, indeed. And, I had to ask you, like, this PVZ or, Taiwanese PVZ? Both cases we leave us sort of scratching our heads, but
I don't know.
This wasn't a complete stalemate.
It wasn't. This wasn't your typical Sky Toss against Zerg game. Like, to be fair, both players were kind of doing questionable things, right? For example, DRG, he stayed on lair tech that entire game. He never made a hive. He never got up to Vipers, and Vipers are really what you want against that sort of thing. Whether it's
one power bomb, honestly.
Yeah, like a power bomb forcing your opponent to split, forcing your opponent to not be attacking, right? That's a lot of lost DPS as well when that's happening. Even abducts, like picking off a Void Ray here and there, slowly it can add up. Like whatever it takes, just energy being used up like that. Like, he had a nice idea there going for the fungals and going for the Hydras. The problem is that the fight didn't happen until, you know, it happened across the map with all those shield batteries with, like, that defensive advantage for ViViD.
I'm still sitting here shaking my head. We really had to beg both players to build something else.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't have to. Well, one of them didn't have to.
One of them
didn't have to.
Exactly. ViViD didn't have to, mate. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Did he?
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
We hope he knew.
We hope so. We hope so. GG, well played. Congratulations, ViViD. Congratulations, Hush, in his return to StarCraft as he does move on to the semifinals, securing at least 50 USD.